Well, glad you're still with us here on Morning at 10 TV. Time for the Kickstarter. And of course, we'll be talking about emerging issues around land governance and ownership. Before I introduce my guest, let me just take you through a preamble. The report released earlier this year, dubbed Justice, Needs and Satisfaction in Uganda 2024, showed that 42% of people have been involved in land disputes, and 23 of those have experienced more than one legal problem or challenge, considering land disputes as the most serious. The facts acknowledge that land disputes are most severe, that's across the country, especially among older individuals, that is 40 and above. The President, during his State of the Nation address, no, not State of the Nation address, I beg your pardon on that, but Sunday's speech, that was Heroes Day, said land issues were escalating and that there is need for action to rectify some of the inconsistencies as well as the dilemmas regarding land acquisition, land ownership, as well as land transfer. Today, we have with us Dennis Bugaya, the Public Relations Officer at the Buganda Land Board, who will be helping us understand some of these issues and whether the President's sentiments are anything to really take on very seriously or modalities are already in place. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Fair.
You listened to the President's Heroes Day speech and his concerns about land.
Yes.
What's your submission on that?
When you watch the President, I think you can get the feel, the pain he has about whatever is going on. For instance, don't look at what the President said first, but rather look at the background. The background. To what he said. The President has been around for quite some time. When you look at the laws which have been brought under his regime, for instance, from the Statute of 1993, that is to restore land to the traditional rulers. You go through the Constitution of 1995, then from the Constitution of 1995, go to the Land Act of 1998, go to the Land Regulations of 2004, go to the amendment to the Land Act of 2010. All those are laws which have been brought maybe to mitigate whatever is transpiring in the land sector. But you can understand the head of state's frustration that despite all the legal and parliamentary interventions, legislature and the rest, nothing seems to be working out. So I got an impression of a frustrated president. I got an impression of a president maybe who is still figuring out what to do next.
Interesting that we can have the head of state lament and seem puzzled at an inability to solve this fundamental problem, despite the fact that over the years he has come to depict himself as one who has the ability to intervene in just about anything at any one point in time. Where do you think is the problem? Is the legal system so badly tuned that it cannot address these concerns, or there are elements within society who understand or maybe have the President in a tight spot and he can't act on it?
I personally think when you look at if you have been around and you've been following.
No doubt I've been.
The problem is misdiagnosis.
Misdiagnosis of the problem.
Misdiagnosis of the land problem.
Land problem, yeah.
That's where we get it wrong. When you misdiagnose, you go for a wrong prescription. And when you go for a wrong prescription, you will not solve the problem. It's as simple as that. For instance, I can point, you can look at some pointers. Look at somebody who will tell you that mile land is the issue. Now, when such a statement is made, that's a misdiagnosis. And you know what? Some of our key players, the decision makers, they don't want to listen. Because for us who are at the fringes, some are the center of this entire land sector.
That's right.
We are not listened to. We presented views to the Bamugemerere Commission from the Kingdom of Uganda, being one of the biggest landlords. Because we had seen where the problem is.
That's right.
We sat as the kingdom. We also have stakeholders. We gathered views, came up with a paper and presented it. What happened? We are seeing something moving in another direction, not considering the views which we presented. Because when you look at the land problem, the population has increased. That is one. That's one of the causes. The justice system is broken. Even the president knows it. Everyone knows it, that the justice system is what? Is broken. You have cases in court which are 20 years old, 25 years old, a 25-year-old case in court.
A dispute that has gone on and on and on.
So what happens?
Yet there are other disputes that will take 2 weeks and they are solved. 2
weeks to resolve. For instance, look at the election petitions. Special attention was paid to them. Special courts were established. Special circuits were established to handle them and dispose them off. And by the time, these days, it's very rare to have an election case by the time of the next election, which means they have been given a time lag of five years to get resolved. But you have unending land cases lagging before courts of law.
Let me ask.
It's a complex matter.
It's a complex matter.
But with simple solutions.
All right.
If we are there to what we want.
I'm glad you're on the show right now. Being the public relations officer for Buganda Land Board, you would not speak against anything that is or doesn't favor Buganda for that case. But I want you to step out of the frame that is Buganda. And then, as one who has followed these matters for a long time and have an understanding of what you say is a complex problem, and then tell us exactly where do we need to realign. The justice system can deal with a backlog of cases at any one point in time. I do not know whether your frustration with the justice system is only on the backlog of cases or the interpretation of the laws themselves. I don't know whether that is also part of the problem, but allow us, put us into this frame so we can understand land across the country, not only in Buganda. Where is the problem? Is it the land tenure system? Is it that we have too many rich people who can afford to take others off land? Could the problem also be that our communal ownership of land is also misaligned to the times that we are in right now?
You've requested me to step out of I should, but these problems are the same problems.
They keep rotating around.
Keep rotating around the country. So it's the same problem. So have no feel that there is a special problem in Buganda and there is another special problem in Lango, Busoga, or wherever, West Nile. Wherever. No,
absolutely not.
It's the same problem. When you step out and you look at the causes, because to understand this problem, you must first understand the causes. Why are people getting evicted? That's the problem. The problem is not people having too much money. No, that's not a problem. We have countries where people are richer than Ugandans.
That's right.
People have much more money than Ugandans. Why aren't people getting evicted? Like I told you, the first cause of eviction is the justice system. Somebody knows that I can do something and go away with it. They know it. I can pay, I can do whatever I want, and I go away with it. So be it in the civil court, be it in the criminal court. Look at the other cause, which is the investigative machinery we have as a country. The CID, the rest. I'm not saying they are bad, but they have inadequacies. They have inadequacies. For instance, just a clear example. When you report a case to police, who pays for the investigating officer to visit the scene? Those are the simple questions we should ask ourselves as Ugandans. Who pays? The complainant who will go and pay. Why? You might find that in their budget, they don't have the vote for taking investigating officers to the scene.
To the scene and carrying out this. Yeah.
So this is institutionalized. So you have a problem starting right from the interface of investigation. So if there is a problem at the investigation, what will happen at the prosecution?
You wouldn't expect a police officer who has been paid by a complainant to investigate anything that is against the complainant who has paid.
Yeah, you shouldn't expect that. So look at our investigative element within our government. That's one. Then look at our lands ministry, the land registration. The land registration, you should look at it. One, the personnel. Are they enough, adequate and competent? That's a question. Okay, if they are. The procedures we have introduced. This is a government where a procedure is introduced before a law is introduced. That's very, very unfortunate. You should have a law.
A law first.
First, then you have the procedures following. that's another
in other words, we deal with the problem, we legislate the problem after we have encountered the challenges.
After you have encountered the challenges. That's what we have. So again, we have to look back as a country and say, where are we moving from and where are we heading to? When you look at this land sector, it's affecting the economy.